as talking earlier, Brother Isaac, he sort of mentioned it earlier about that honeymoon phase. And when I think about those earlier gates, this is exactly what I think about. The first three gates, we kind of remind you of that honeymoon phase of our Christian walk, by which, we start off in that sheep gate, that build that relationship with God. Everything's good and great. Now we got the relationship established. It's so great, we got to go out and tell somebody. That fisherman man thing. So now we're in that phase. Then we go to that old gate. We're reminiscing. Everything is great. We're in that reminiscing phase. But then we come to that next gate. Come on, that valley gate. Now that valley gate, that's when that real life starts to hit you.
Come on, sir.
From reading in our studies, kind of established that valley gate was sort of located, giving them access to one of the deepest, darkest valleys surrounding Jerusalem. And that sort of signifies those trials and tribulations and tests that we all have to go through.
Yeah, come on, it's good.
And as we started studying and sharing with one another, one of the first things we started discovering is that they kind of get our different, look at that gate from a different perspective. Instead of focusing on the shadow, we start focusing on the light that causes that shadow. Because if you really think about it, that in that valley is where we really grow.
All right.
In that valley, that's where our faith is tested and it's strengthened and it grows. That's where we grow spiritually. So that valley experience can be a really good experience for us. I know personally, when I look back on my life, as we were studying this, I started looking back on my life and I started thinking about some of the deepest valleys I have to go through in my life. And I feel like everybody else, hey, I can tell you right now, I do not look like what I've been through. As a matter of fact, the last major valley experience that I faced in my life is literally the reason I'm standing here tonight. If it was not for that valley, I would not be standing here literally tonight at all. So I thank God for the valleys, and I think we all, because like I said, that's where we grow, that's where we develop our faith. But that said, we know we don't want to stay in the valley forever, right? So in that valley, which can bring us to the next gate, but when you're in that valley, it also gives you time to kind of think and reminisce and make what put me in this situation. And a lot of time, what brought us to that situation is some of the baggage, some of the garbage and stuff that we carried around with us, right? So, you start looking at over your life and you say, hey, there's some things that weighing me down, that's causing me not to stay on the path that was designed for me, that God has placed me on. And when you start looking at that baggage, that's where it goes to that dung gate. Now, the dung gate in the Bible, it says, is where basically the people of Jerusalem, where they would take all the garbage and everything, and they take it out and burn it. Actually, it says that when they made their praise sacrifice, we know there were certain parts of the animal that were unfit for sacrifice because they caused a bad odor. They removed the horns, the skin, and the intestines, right? And they would take those out and they would bury them downwind so that aroma wouldn't even travel back to the area of the temple. So it reminds us spiritually, for me at least, is that we are called to be a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable, right? That's the true and proper worship. So in order to send up that sweet aroma that God wants us to present to Him, we gotta get rid of some things sometimes. Sometimes we just have to get rid of some things, and that anything that defiles us, anything that's unacceptable, anything that's not worthy of God's presence, we have to get rid of those things. And as we were talking, we were sharing with the men, and each one of the men, we had different gates to study, and my gate happened to be the dung gate. And I don't know, when Pastor Jesse first said, who wants what gate? When he said dung gate, for some reason, my hand went up and everybody looked at me like, dung gate. To be honest, I didn't even know why I wanted the dung gate, but as I started studying, God started to reveal to me, why it was so big, because it was so applicable to my life. I just thought about all those times when I was in that position where I was carrying around so many things that was unacceptable. But like I was sharing with the brothers during the men's fellowship, all the time, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that, you know, we think of like the real sinful thing, because like I said, we know there are no degrees of sin, but I share with them my experience, and I'm sure my wife can attest to this. Last year around this time, something that seemed as benign as a video game. I started playing that video game, innocent enough, you know, for a couple of hours, next thing you know, it was taken away from almost every area of my life. It was taken away from my praise and worship time. It was taken away from my time with my family. It was affecting my finances. It was affecting my health. It was affecting all my core responsibilities. And it wasn't until one evening when my actions really manifested. My wife gave me a phone call, and I was so busy playing my game. And she called me on the home phone. She never called me on the home phone. So I looked at the phone. I was probably telemarketers. I didn't answer it. When I finished playing my game, about an hour later, I looked at the phone. I thought, oh, it's my wife called. Why was she called? Why didn't she call my cell phone? I looked in my pocket. There's my cell phone, and she had called like 5 or 6 times. And I called her back. Of course, she was upset. I got a flat tire, and I'm sitting here at work in the parking lot. And I've been trying to reach you, and I don't know what to do. Of course, he had to run fast. I just go to the store. But what really opened my eyes was the fact, like, what if my wife? It could have been anything. My wife could have been anything, anywhere. Anything could have been happening to her. She could have been trying to reach me, and I'm sitting here taking my time playing some stupid video game. And that night, you know, as I laid in bed that night, I thought about all the things I had promised God. There was 2 years I spent in Okinawa. Oh God, when I get back, I'm gonna spend all this time, and we're gonna find a good church. I'm gonna spend all that time in worship. I'm gonna spend all this time with my family and all that stuff. And I found myself in it, and so that next morning I went up there, canceled that game subscription, and my wife can attest once again, I hadn't played that game since that night. So,